Bob. Here I am. He is me, the guy who tells you stories, and don't believe a word I say. Don't believe a word I say. So what do you think? Here, we're going to go live chat. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Let's see what time it is. It's almost 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here it is Friday. And this coming Tuesday is going to be the presidential election in the United States. And what do you think? Is there any difference between the girl and Carrot Head? Is it the end of the world as we know it? It's been the end of the world as we know it many times, almost every nanosecond. So what are you doing about it? How are you getting involved? What's making you happy? What books are you reading? The one book I read pretty much every day is the King James Bible, because it is a very interesting tuning fork, right? To get one aware of the frequency of love's co-creation and where you're at it on that frequency level. Where are you? Now, John, the patron saint of misery, the canary in the coal mine of human culture, basically is irrelevant right now. He purchased the deed of the school, and people, if you think you own anything, you don't, right? If you think you have money in the bank, you don't, right? If you're not living moment to moment, then you're just dying in the future and in the past. You're, nostalgic for your death and scared of what the future has for you at your death. And here we are, 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And come on, I kind of need you guys to, put some likes up there, subscribe to the show, all the above, right? Because I've been talking about the Big Splat for a good 7 years. I've told you many stories, involved you in what my life is like, all to be an exponent of your ability to go from hubris, ego, to love's co-creation. That's what we were put here on this earth, right? To be in the light and love of Jesus Christ, right? Not to be, the exporter of justice in your belief structure, people think that they are just, Well, what is just but just us, right? Everybody else who doesn't think or feel or do what we do, then they are the other and they don't deserve to be here, right? And that is basically an antecedent to love's co-creation, right? When you think you're better, when you think the A-lister, when you want to be just, that means you're judging everybody else, right? Now, that's almost a given when it comes to humans. We can't seem to help ourselves in judging others, right? Do we judge ourselves? Well, sometimes we do, and that's called neuroses. When we judge others, it usually ends up in psychoses. So, again, there's nobody here. We're into this for 44 minutes and 44 seconds. And I do this to be the little pebble in the World Wide Web's pond, right? I'm not angling for, making money. I've never made money off this. John goes, I don't make any more than $40. Well, he's now You know, got a whole line of merch that he's selling, and he's got my face all over it. It's, you know, will he share anything? No. From at least my past experience, John does nothing except when he feels guilty, right? When he feels guilty, he'll buy you a pair of sneakers, or those are $300 speaking. You know, they're almost like the Carrot Head, you know. So John and the Carrot Head has a lot in common. So I would say that Donnie Chimp will win by, you know, an undeniable waterfall of votes, right? And everything that he talks about, you know, don't trust voting, blah, 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 it's true, you know. He will be put in by Klaus Schwab's, right? Because they want the end of America as we know it. They want it just to be a country club for the ultra-rich, a slave hamlet for whoever of us are left over, and, you know, not the protector. We never were. We were always there for our own selfish reasons. But it's going to be woo. And I would say, you know, between the time of elections on November, whatever, 6th or 7th or 5th or whatever day it is, Tuesday, Joe Biden's still going to be president, right? Until January 6th, when whoever wins gets sworn in. And what I think he's going to do, he's already lined it up. He's going to bring the U.S. Army into the United States and declare martial law. And, you know, Downey was right when he said you don't have to worry about voting ever again, right? And he will be down with it, you know, because he won't be put in jail. He will be forgiven of all his sins, and he'll be able to live on his country clubs and be a happy little whatever he is. Yeah. Raspberry lemonade, and they scraped off the label so I can't tell what's in it. So, but drinking 1/4 of that crap won't kill me today. And I had nice sushi, right? A vegetarian sushi. You know, this was my lunch. This is this stuff. Can we read what's in there? Like I said, that 1 quart won't kill me. But the thing is, it's a artificial taste that sticks on your taste buds, and, you know, people will get, you know, me, in a lot of ways, the fact that I only have about X dollars to spend on food, I can't really be that extravagant. But that was on sale, you know. You know, it's really interesting. You go to the, I was looking for seltzer, just plain seltzer, right? And a 12-pack of seltzer costs $9. And that 12-pack of seltzer equals 2 liters, right? Now, above it is the 2-liter bottles full of, you know, not Pepsi or Coke. They have those further down that way, but in the middle, they have the, you know, supermarket brand of cola, you know, Mountain Dew, root beer soda, you know. And you know what those cost? 2-liter bottle of Coke or, not Coke, of cola or root beer, 79 cents. Why does the same amount of seltzer cost, you know, $9? And even though we have a number of different supermarkets, it's all the same stuff. You know, this will kill you, this will kill you, this will kill you, this will kill you. And they're like, I'm sitting in the little cafeteria room, and they have the soda machine. I don't think any of them work. No.
The high tea one works.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm a fan of it, but
That's interesting. They want you to drink that. It must have, mind-controlled drugs in it. Everyone else doesn't work, but that one does. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. It's like if you go down the soda aisle, seltzer costs $9, but 2 liters of cola is 79 cents.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Publix has some pretty good deals.
No, they want you to drink that crap.
Well, frankly, I have soda every now and then, which is not good, but I have it every time I go out.
Well, as a special little treat, it's not bad. But I see people load up their cart with like 500 things. It's called addiction. That's what it.
Sugar itself is an addiction.
Yes.
We all kind of steer away from.
And everything is, sugar is in everything.
Oh yeah. Oh America.
Oh, America. That's right. So are you a Boone girl, or where did you come from?
I am studying at App,
Oh.
but
What?
I'm going back to Chattanooga, my home.
I went to school at Duke.
Oh, nice.
So when you were a little girl, do you remember a thing called Joe College Weekend?
No.
It was a big music festival at spring break time.
Oh, what was it called again?
Joe College Weekend. And both, whoever was left in Duke and whoever was left at Chapel Hill got together and did a big festival.
Oh, wow.
And one year it would be in Duke, and the other year it would be over there. And that started, I think, in '69.
Oh, wow.
And went on for many years. So if you were to Google Joe College Weekend, I'm sure it would come up. That's the beauty of Google. Everything is there. Whether it's true or not, that's another question.
Right.
But that's okay, because as a research fellow, I would never believe anything I looked up,
Oh, wow.
Is it there? Joe College Weekend? Yeah.
It looks fun.
I helped start that.
It reminds me of the, what is it called? It's huge.
Well, there was Woodstock as the
That.
That.
Oh, wait, that's what this reminds me of.
That's what it was. I was the electrician at Woodstock.
Oh, wow.
And so I was visiting some friends at Duke,
Yeah.
and we weren't doing anything, and one of my music buddies called me up and said, "Hey, we're on 91 and we're heading west, and we got a week to kill. Where are you?" And I said, "I'm at Duke. Why don't you come here?" And so the Allman Brothers and Joe Cocker and Jimi Hendrix were there. And so the school was empty, so all of the guys who had fraternities let those guys stay in their fraternities.
Oh, wow.
And so we had,
Of course.
yes, Jimmy, all those guys were there, and everyone was having a great time. And I said, "Why don't we do a show?" And so we did, and that was the first show.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And
So,
then they did like a continuation, like the 20, I think it was 2 years ago or a year ago, where they tried to do another, wood.
oh, they tried to do Woodstock 5 different times.
Have they?
Yes.
I've only heard of one last
Right,
time.
and they were never, because
It was pretty bad.
well, Woodstock was organic. It was supposed to be a thing, but so many people showed up. The ticket thing was
Well,
over.
it was that
Everything
one
was free.
artist.
Right.
Usually, well, at least the time that I knew, there was one artist whose music did not fit the theme,
Right.
but they were popular enough to have them there.
Well, they pretty
And
much
that's
had a
the
little bit
problem.
of everybody.
Yeah.
It was quite fun, and it was in Woodstock, which was a arty community to begin with, and the uptight people in Woodstock, we had a place, we had fixed it all up, it was great, and then somebody took them to court and they had to move it, so they moved it to the next county in this farmer guy's place, right?
Uh-huh.
And we only had 2 weeks to move everything over there, so it was not groovy. And I was sent back to New York to get some stuff, and that farm was right on the edge of the New York Thruway. So people drove up, parked, and just walked up the hill. That's how they got 500,000 people there.
Wow.
They didn't come.
Yeah.
It was just, and so
I did know.
that's what blocked up the New York Thruway, because 500,000 cars were parked in it. It was just like one gigantic parking lot, and it was quite interesting. So I was there for the whole time, but I was never there for the show, and all my fellows were pissed off because everyone was getting electrocuted and getting typhoid, and they weren't having a good time. And I wasn't there, so I didn't go through the misery of all that.
I think the first one, or maybe the second one, I think it was the first one, they ran out of water.
Yes.
And so, like, everyone was upping the price of, like, 10
No, that was a few years later. What happened at the original one, these guys came from Tennessee, and they were like end of world guys. So they fed everybody. They had their own medical thing, and they brought enough water for everybody. So the original Woodstock actually worked out great. And the guy who produced it was my boss, and what happened, because he made a movie of it, right? And he was making a real movie of what it was going to be. But all this happened, and Woodstock would have just been an asterisk in history. But that movie made everyone see what it was.
Yeah, I think
it's been on TV. It's been, if you were alive, you've seen that movie somewhere. But out of that came a thing called the Rainbow Gatherings. Did you ever hear those? So all the hippie people of that, they say, oh, why don't we just... And so the only place you can gather in America without permits and all that is in the National Forest.
in the national parks.
Yeah, in the National Forest. You don't need a permit to go camping.
Well, I guess...
And so the 20,000 people would show up would say, I'm just here camping. And these are just other people who are just camping.
Yeah.
So you can get away with it.
Well, there's a place like this a little bit here. I think it's called the Farm.
Yeah. That is the guys at the farm are the guys who saved everyone's butt at Woodstock. That was the crew of people who went and fed everybody and took care of their, the farm. Yeah, Saskin's farm, yes. And it's still there. So on your little magic box, put in Dreamy Dreamland with Sensie Owl Bob. Yeah, put that down.
Dreamy Dreamland.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Just
A little drippage.
a little trail. You can.
Yeah, it's okay. No one's going to die. So, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensie Owl Bob.
Sensei.
Owl, O-W-L, B-O-B. Owl Bob. Then hit the thing, and there I am, right?
Let's see. Yeah.
And actually, we're doing a live chat right now, so you're part of the show. But I didn't show your face. I've only got your voice a little bit. So subscribe, so it'll be in your phone. And I probably have a good 2,000 where I tell stories. Right? So I've been what is known as an itinerant scholar. I've never been an academic. I just get hired to do research on everything you can imagine, because I have a plethora of experiences. So I'm getting old now, so I kind of live between here and ETSU, and I found a nice piece of property back at the turn of the century, and because I was bebopping between here and ETSU, and I found a nice spot. I had it, and I knew I'd retire one day, and I found myself to be in, do you know where Lake Watoga is? You ever go? So I live around that.
Oh, wow.
In a very, very, very...
Well, how was it with the hurricane?
Oh, it wiped everything out.
I thought so.
Except for the rich people. It's like where Pogie is, it's a valley, and the rich people bought like 3/4 of it, and then 1/4 was all kind of dairy and cow farms. And those people didn't want to sell. You want to join me for lunch, or you have to go someplace?
I will, actually. I was planning on driving home, but I never get to fully eat if I drive.
Yes, there you go. Nice table.
Do I have to pay for this before I eat?
No. Come on. Now, if you try and leave without paying for it, they'll get you. But you can eat it. And that's
what I think. That's what I did last night.
Right.
I came with my friend.
Right.
And she told me, no, you have to pay for it before you eat.
No.
And I was like, okay, that
that kind of makes sense.
No, it doesn't. That's anal retentive motif, you know. No, as long as you pay for it, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I have my lunch and then I go pay for it. And
That's what I'll do then.
yeah.
Would you care for some?
Oh, I'm that. I'll have a strawberry or a grape. Definitely.
Oh, I hate opening these.
I know. It's like
Bill?
it's like a test to see if you can be in the new world order. You know. Why these are good is because they're almost ready to be thrown out.
I know.
And so and they're the sweetest, best at that point.
My friend used to work here, and what she said is that the produce that they see that it starts to turn,
Right.
they cut it up and sell it.
Yep. And
She
that's
just
and it's
wanted-
actually the best.
Yes, I think so.
And then when it goes past that, they give it to the homeless.
Is that right?
Oh, kind of. I mean, Food Lion does that. So
Lion doesn't do a good job of like getting their stuff out when it's.
and you know what the thing about Food Lion, it almost depends on which Food Lion you go to.
That's true. I haven't been to this one.
Where every Publix is like, just like this one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Same.
Food Lion, not so much. No. And the Food Lion here is a good one.
Is it? I haven't been in there
Well, how long have you been here in Boom?
for a year.
What are you studying?
Psychology.
Well, you should go. They have a department, they have a program here where one more year you can get your master's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And get your master's in social work. That's what I had. And MSW allows you to do anything you want. You get just a master's in counseling, that's all you can do. You're
Yeah.
really stuck, right?
Well, I want to do counseling.
But you can get an MSW and still do counseling. Actually, see, if you get a master's in counseling, you won't be able to get your own shingle and start your own business. Get an MSW, you can. So that's what I did.
An app?
Yeah.
Really?
Do you have a teacher that's more or less a kind of good mentor to you?
You know, so I'm a transfer, so I've only been here a whole year.
Right.
And I really haven't gotten to connect close with many of them.
It's hard, you know. This place used to be a kind of, when I first was doing research here,
Yeah.
like in the 70s and 80s. This was a great little school because it was just a school for it was like a teacher's college, right? And then when this place became a hipster jungle, it became kids come here to go skiing and rafting and right. So the education means zip. And so most of the departments are run by adjuncts. The whole school is, that's why you haven't gotten close to anybody.
Well, so, yeah. I know that we were having issues with our, who was it? It was somebody on the board.
Mm-hmm.
They were making obscure just decisions that didn't favor anybody, not the teachers,
But them.
not the students,
But
but
them.
them. And then I think they resigned because they got caught doing something sketchy, but app didn't
Right.
let it be known. So I thought that was a little off.
Well, but see, that's pretty much everywhere,
I know.
and has been pretty much everywhere.
No. And the politics now.
Yes, it's always been the same. I'm old enough to be experienced of all of it, right? And so, anyway, the best thing, none of this matters. What matters is what you're doing.
Yes.
And if your integrity is on top, you don't have to worry about anybody else's. So let's see your palm. The hand you're right with.
I'm dyslexic. My right palm. Okay. This one.
Okay, so and dyslexia is good. Certain, I have many skill sets, right? And since I was an infant, I stuck a knife in an electric socket, and I have been intimately connected to electricity. So I view everything electrically. Psychology, your emotions, electric.
Yeah, there's energy and everything.
Yes, and your body, you are a body electric, right? right?
Yeah, I always wonder what happens to the energy when you die. Like, it's nor created nor destroyed.
Right,
So
right.
where does it go?
Well, see, it's what it is. When you get into physics,
Oh, I haven't taken physics. I probably should.
you should. So when you kind of physics, you take metaphysics.
I haven't had the time, but because of everything, my house was kind of out of shape for a little bit, so I didn't have time to do much aside from.
That doesn't matter.
I really do want to.
What you have to get. So anyway, let's read your palm and we can go from there.
Okay.
Okay. So put it up like this. Put it like right over. Perfect. I'm going to actually not get your face, but get your palm. So you're a really interesting person because you never do anything the same way twice. And that's kind of dyslexic. You're honest, but you don't spill the beans. You think with your heart and you feel with your head. So if somebody says something mean to you, you don't go, you go, I wonder why they did that. And then on the other side, when you're trying to deal with something technical, you don't look at YouTube, you just kind of, oh yeah, that's what's wrong with it.
I'm so bad at that.
We'll keep going. Let's see, what else? Let's see, a lot of deja vu, and that's God just saying, wake up. So you get so caught up in whatever it is, which isn't even important,
Yes.
you lose sight of what is important.
Yes.
Turn your hand this way, back again, perfect. Like I said, you're loads of fun. What sign are you? That's
I'm a
what.
Gemini.
Yeah. So you're loads of fun, and what really? So you have. So you're really smart, very smart.
I don't know.
No, and that's why you're really smart. When you say I don't know, if you go, yeah, I know I'm smart, you would go, okay, get lost. And what other thing you have is, sympathy is, oh, that's too bad. Get out of my way, I'm gonna rush. That's sympathy. What you have is empathy. You really feel, and that's why you want to be not a shrink, but a counselor. Let's see. So you have a pretty good moon. So you're motivated by the energetics of the universe, right? And so you can put your hand down. And the other side of the coin, so I was a shrinky boy, right? And so everyone hates shrinks, right? And so, but I was a researcher, so I worked on things and did things in a research kind of way.
Yeah.
And so I always worked for lots of different people. And I remember this, I had been doing the shrinky thing for at least 6 years. Mm-hmm. And I had my MSc, I'd done a lot of stuff. And so I had a lot of gravitas, as they say. And so I was working for this one group, and I did all this stuff that they could, that was like they were doing it, not charging,
Mm-hmm.
and so they could take it off their taxes, so they're making, So I was the guy who did, so I did all the stuff nobody wanted to do. And so worked with people in jails and mental institutions and old folks and you name it, all the stuff that nobody wanted to do.
I want.
Right, and that's what I was in all these institutions and doing all these things, and they weren't my career. Mm-hmm. So I could do anything I wanted. I could just be so outside the box because everyone's scared to lose their job. Man, I couldn't care less.
No, me too.
So, and that's how you have to keep up. You just be yourself, right?
Yeah.
And Dexlex, I had all this stuff before that it was even invented. I had, right? And so I had great people who took me to the side and said, somewhere along the line, people will say this is a bad thing, but in actuality, it's a good thing. And they showed me how all like HDAD and all that kind of stuff, that it was a good thing if you understood it and you not internalized, but was able to work with that as if it was a tool or a commodity or a substance that you could form into something different than what people was going to say.
Labeled it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a book that defines all the neuroses and psychoses. I forget it's a DSM or something like that. And when I was, I had to use it to like put people in a box so they could charge somebody for it, right? my whole trip was that no one is in a box, but they're on a scale. They're not all of this or all of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're a smorgasbord of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lot to do with electric. It's how the current in your body flows. And if you start studying...
I started looking into grounding because I had a teacher that showed us a study very briefly. There's a small study of I think this person had cancer, and she's had given up all hope in modern medication, pharmaceuticals, and
Right.
so she turned to grounding, and it helped significantly. Like everything she had just magically disappeared.
Right.
And she started sleeping better, her circulation was better,
Mm-hmm.
her mood was better.
Yep.
She had anxiety, depression, like a list of things.
You name it.
All of which,
Went away.
inflammation, everything.
And they're all interconnected. And again, it's an electrical kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I died a number of times over my life. And between 2003 and 2014, I've been involved in so much stuff. I was like, I can't believe humanity is still here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was constantly being, hey, you should go work in the corporate world. You make a lot of money. And on my skill sets, I could, and I did. So I lived the most hedonist, extravagant life for 10 years that you could ever freaking imagine, And I never paid for anything. So I was working for all these guys who were getting 8-figure salaries and still living paycheck to paycheck.
Well, yeah.
They weren't happy campers.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't, I just went for it, right? So that kind of life, I weighed 480 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, oh, wow. I weigh now 190. And I died in a plate of spaghetti in a mobster fancy restaurant in Miami. And I woke, and I kind of went and had my life review, and I had that a few times. And everyone was patting me on the back. You did such a great job, blah, blah, blah. And then my master showed up and said, well, you're doing a good job. And I said, doing? You mean I'm not done? He goes, well, you want to be done? You can be done, but you're going to be here. And I was in the basement of my grammar school, Catholic school cafeteria. And that green stuff they throw on top of vomit?
Oh,
Yes, well, everything was made out of that. Everything, the food, the walls, the air, everything was. He said, well, you want to rest? Well, you can stay here for eternity.
Oh boy.
Or you can go back.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Yes. Even though there were balloons and people were patting me on the back, it was like, okay, I'll go back. So I wake up on a gurney, and they're wheeling me into an operating room where they're going to cut my legs off, take 20 feet out of my colon, and give me a quadruple bypass. And I say, no, yeah. And I got the fentanyl in my arm, and I wake up, and everyone freaks out because I should be dead.
Right.
And so I said, no.
Have some more.
I am. I'm going to go for the grapes now. So, it took me 4 years to... And I sold everything I had. I had a lot of money, a lot of properties, a lot of stuff. I have a nice little place, deep green, along 321, right above Watauga Lake. And you asked me what happened. Well, in the neighborhood, so like I said, that 3/4, I didn't think the rich people were going to show up. I thought I'd be dead because it's that far away. There's only one road, 321. And it wiped out Pogie, wiped out Trade, Elks Mills, Banner Elk, Hampton, Irwin. Half of Irwin, I used to live in Irwin. Half of it's gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Just, yeah.
The other amazing thing, it didn't just flood stuff like in Asheville. It took it to bedrock, went that deep into the ground and scraped all, like, the farming, the richest farming area on the East Coast is in North Carolina and Tennessee, up here in these hills of the Blue Ridge Parkway. And this thing wiped that all out.
Yeah.
The size of New Jersey. The only thing they can do with that property now is build shopping malls and housing for the rich. And it's like, and all that property there's 3 corporations up there, and they bought up everything within 2 weeks.
Wow.
The federal government declared it uninhabitable and closed, and got everyone off the properties. And then a week and a half later, these corporations bought all the property up for 10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
And you don't hear any of that on the news.
No, you don't.
And what that's going to do for, food, knocking out that of New Jersey. You must have a little cancer in you.
A part?
Cancer, astrological sign.
Oh, yeah. You know, I was
Because you're a very neat person.
I don't know.
No, but I mean, like I said, you never do anything the same way twice, right?
Yeah.
So you're always cleaning up the smuts, but you may go in your house and it's totally in chaos.
Oh my gosh. It is.
And Gemini being a twin,
Yeah.
you always have 2 sides. You may have one side that's a little down this day, but the other side is doing fine.
Yeah.
So I love hanging with Gemini. And I'm always drawn to Cancers too, because they're everyone, like, so I can read your palm, right? And it's really a show, a shtick, a gig, meaning every human, it's like, remember Mr. Potato Head, right? Well, that's what humanity is. There's really only 5 different characteristics, and you put them together, you get 86 different things, right? And as a shrink, it was much better, more right on top of the spot of looking at that. And so someone would come in and everyone hates shrinks, right? Shrink puts you on a couch. No one wants to be on a couch because they're vulnerable. They can't get up, right? So I would put them in a big sturdy chair that they could run out of like at any instant. I put them right in front of the open door so they could run out whatever time they wanted to. And then the first thing I would do is and I go, well, how do you feel? No, I'd say, let me look at your palm. I did exactly what I did to you, and I hit enough stuff that I could see you doing this. So I would just lean into that, and then they would start telling me about themselves without me having to say, and how do you feel? Right? And then I'd let them. I would shut up. And that's a really good sign of a good counselor, is someone who shuts up.
I think so.
Just listens.
Right. That's the whole purpose.
Right.
I mean, a good bit of their whole purpose, just to listen.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right on, what are you, 23, 24?
22. I'll be 23 soon.
Yeah, your birthday's soon. You're doing great. And all you have to do you keep a journal?
I do. I try to. I haven't been consistent, but every now and then I do journal.
It's just a habit.
Yeah.
And this is something you take to the bank. You're really not a worrier. You kind of, since you're a Gemini, there's part of you that's very organized and fastidious is probably the best word. And some people might think of that as anxiety, but it's not.
Yeah.
You're just fastidious, like you. You clean the thing and everything, right? That's fastidious. But people who worry, so I'll give you a quick lesson on palm reading. How open, you ask the person to put up the hand that they write with, right? Because, when they go to court and you have to put up your hand like this, the phalanges in your hands pull in a certain way to basically augment you where you can't lie. And when you say, you put your hand up like this, you're doing the same thing they do in court. Now in court, they don't even know that, but that's an ancient thing, right? There's a tradition that's gone all the way to our courts. So you do that, it sets people up. Well, they can lie, but not as well as they could. It becomes real obvious that they're lying, right? So anyway, this here the space between these two fingers, is how honest you are. So if somebody's like that, and see, when you put your hand up like that, your phalanges go to where they go. It's not, you can consciously do stuff, but you're not really thinking about it. It's just going to go the way it's supposed to be, right? So that's how honest you are. And the closer it gets, now if somebody's like that, they're a sociopath. And you're not but if it's like this, that means you hold your cards close to the vest, which isn't a bad thing, right? These fingers is see how they're not exactly equal, right? So humans annoy me, but I'm not aggressive about it because I don't care enough,
Right.
Whatever they say, I couldn't care less.
Take it personally.
Right. And so there again, see that line right there? That's it. See how it is from this hand. This is the hand I write with. It's really almost one line, and yours is too. Right, and see in the middle of mine, there's an X there. That means healer, and the more X's you have on your hand, the more you're into healing. Not into it, but it's in you. So let's see what else. So this knuckle here is, see how it's almost this whole finger. So that's all these knuckles, your intelligence. And so your knuckles are pretty, it starts here and goes there. Most people only have the stuff in the middle. They don't have all these lines, right? And this here is your emotion, your empathy. So right off the bat, those are real, like Mr. Potato, meaning that pretty much it's going to be one way or the other. And so you do that, and it's a stick that distracts the person. They're no longer worrying about their own stuff. They're being, oh wow, he's, right? And then you're no longer the shrink. You're the person reading my palm. And then you just, and the other. So these lines down here, there are. So you have this one here is like deja vu, big time deja vu, and the ones down below are like vivid dreams. So you have pretty vivid dreams. And the real deal is to, people say, oh, you need to write your dreams down. You can't. Different part of your brain, right?
I can't remember accurately.
As soon as your feet hit the ground, they're gone. But if you're still in bed and you grab this phone, hit record button, and say, wow, I just have a dream about blah, 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 your brain will spool it out onto this thing. You won't even know what you're saying, but it'll all be on this thing. Then you go back and play it back to yourself, and this is great. You'd stop, go forward, go backwards, pause, right? And that's when you write it down. You listen to it and you write down what your dream was. And when you write something down, why people, shrinks tell people to keep a journal, because when you write something down, in school you didn't write it down to remember stuff. We remember everything. Getting it out, that's a problem, but it's up there. And there are a lot of different, Vivian, what was her name? There was this woman who had not Vivian, but something Lee's speed reading course, right? And you could read a book in like 15 minutes, like 200 pages. Ding, 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 because your psyche is like takes a picture of it. And her course teaches you how to take that information, which is just electrical, and put it back on the screen so you can read it and see what it is, right? You go to the exact page, see what it is, you can be photographic, right? And she had this other one about memory, and she said your brain, where all the stuff is kept, is like in your gut. You have 3 brains. Cottage cheese, that's between your ears. Your heart, so this is the random access memory, what do they call that? And this is your hard drive. Your heart is the hard drive. And your gut, your colon, is where you store everything, right? Because you've got a zillion little bacteria and they're all... So you listen to the story, you write it down, and you'll have what is known as a gestalt, lightning understanding. And it'll be, whoa! Right? And so you got to dream on this thing, you play it, you write it down, and you go, wow, that's why I did that. Wow, that's why I won't do that again. This really worked.
I'll try that next time.
Yes. So just record.
And just blur it.
Right. And you can also remember your dreams if you, what do you normally think about before you go to sleep?
Oh, a million things of like what needs to be done the next day.
Worst thing you could do. Basically, you need to put that up in the mind cave and say, okay, I'm, like a flash. You think of all the things you need to do, not go over it really anally, and say, okay, well, I'm asleep. You work it out over there.
Yeah, I tried
you're
so
part of the
hard,
brownie.
the more I try that, the more I think about it, because then the more anxious I get.
Well, that's the interesting little ploy. You've got to get good at just saying, okay, I'm not going to worry about it, not going to think about it. I'm just going to put it over here. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to think about it. It's just like I used to tell people who would have, really bad thoughts, and which would bring them to say really bad things, right? I said, listen, those bad thoughts are they're not real. They don't have texture. All you got to do is, and I would say, but in phones, you got something on your phone, you can just go zip.
Yeah.
Right? And so there it is. Here you go. I'm going to do this. Read what the people have been saying.
Oh,
Why don't you read them out loud?
interesting reading. I get a good feeling of that lady. Long day. I need to rest my eyes. Stay happy, brother. That's so sweet.
Yeah, so that's I call them my cadre.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have maybe, 200 people. I have about 500 subscribers.
Nice.
You subscribed, didn't you?
Yes, I
About
did.
501.
Nice.
And why don't you put down in your email zone, my email is the dude awake 42 at Gmail.
84.
The dude awake 40. The dude, like dude awake 42 at Gmail. All one word, all lowercase. So send me, hey, here I am. Send me your name, and here I'm talking to you now, and I'll see if I can. I think I can. Stop it. I really don't understand it. I went to a seminary to be a priest. I came from a Catholic Italian family, and one of the boys were going to be a priest, and Cardinal Cushing he wanted me to be a rocket scientist for the Pope. And where is that? There it is. So, is that you? The top one? So, now we're connected on email. Lady Republics. Yes, I would get it. And then I reply. See, and then it does this. Yeah, I don't want that. Try to get rid of it. Smart, composure. Got it, okay. Just to get rid of you. Anyway, I got you there. And from this point on in your life, this is your life. From this point on. And how you do that is to consciously be in the moment. Notice it. Here, put your back against this. Whenever you are in your hands spread, and I put them straight up to receive, right? Close your eyes. Breathe in nice and deep. More. Now let it out. All the way. Out your mouth. Now you emptied your lungs so you can breathe in even more. More. See how much easier that is? More. And you focus just on that. Breathe all the way out. All the way out. And when it does, it lifts your diaphragm, opens up the cilia in your lungs, and you can breathe in the prana, what is the life force, the prana. And then you're on your way. See how easy that is?
It's just that, like, I get too caught up
and then I forget that I'm not in the moment, and then I try so hard to be in the
What all
moment.
you have to do is that. Uncross your legs, put your hands up, put your back straight, close your eyes, and breathe. That's all you gotta
I do
do.
this. I try to sit outside as much as I can and go on walks and just not be inside.
But you can do that anywhere, in class. You don't want to do it operating machines like your car, but you can do it anywhere. And when I was a counselor, or when I was involved in the corporate scene, and I'd have all these really rich people screaming at each other, I would just sit there and say nothing and do that. And they'd all, I wasn't saying anything. I'm sitting there, and they're paying me to like be the facilitator of getting the quick, and sitting there and do that, and they'd be like, "What's he doing?" And I would respond. I would just, and I had my eyes closed, and within 5 minutes, 90% of them all were doing that. All right, and that 2% were like, and they'd run out of the place, right? Because they couldn't stand it. And part of the legal thing is if you leave the room, you no longer have a skin in the game. So a deal can be made without you. They had to sign that.
Yeah.
So the guys who are in strategy parlays call it Stalinist obstructionists. I mean, they're just going to obstruct. So they couldn't take it, so they would, the guys who would be the obstructionists would run away. They had signed this contract. Once they were gone, I'd say, okay, so let's go around in a circle. What's your problem with this deal? What's your problem with this? And then we go around until there was no problem. I get them to sign a contract. And they were going to make hundreds of millions of dollars anyway. So what are they just, their egos were involved. And I could do that like that. Whereas other lawyers were taking months and they got nowhere. I just did that. So man, they paid me pretty good money for that. So you can, from this moment on, do whatever, just in that grace space.
Yeah.
Well, let's have another strawberry. I'm going out with you. I'm going to close it down. Okay, guys, that was nice. Talk to you later.
Ready?
Let's go to the cashier.